Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Pokemon, Sonic, Halo. Every fandom has its devout following. Which games are truly deserving, and which games are best viewed from rose-colored glasses? Maybe nostalgia has deceived us. What do you think? Welcome to Video Game Bonanza, a single elimination tournament where we put games head-to-head to see who stands above the rest and who will earn the coveted All-Star title.
Hello folks, welcome back to Video Game Bonanza. We're in episode 4. If this is your first time with us, welcome. If it's your fourth time with us, welcome back. For the next few minutes, I'm going to review each and every matchup. I will review the exact breakdown of how the community voted, our founders, our council, and our members. To make things slightly more exciting, I may not always do it in exactly that order. If you are new here and missed the round 1 votes, please do not fret. You are more than eligible to vote in round 2, or the quarterfinals, which I will reveal later in this video. Also, if there are any folks who want to dive further into the data, we will post a screenshot of the spreadsheet which breaks down the votes specifically, and that will also be revealed later in the video. Finally, if there are any specific questions about how a matchup went that you may be confused about, please feel free to drop a comment and we can certainly get to you in a timely fashion. We definitely want to be transparent and want to clear up any confusion. Thank you all so much, and let's jump into the round 1 results. Our first matchup is between Super Mario Bros. 3 and Trog, and probably to no one's surprise, Super Mario Bros. 3 dominated. In the community, there were 21 voters, 20 of which voted for Mario, and therefore it will be awarded the 5 electoral votes given by the community. Next up, we have the founders, and they also unanimously voted for Mario, giving it 2 more electoral votes and bringing up the total to 7-0. Our 5-person council comes third, and they voted 5-0 towards the number 1 seed, giving it 2 more electoral votes and bringing the score up to 9-0. Finally, a shout out to our members. We have 6 individuals receiving a vote each towards this total, and they went 6 for 6 for Super Mario Bros. 3. This total brings Super Mario Bros. 3 to 15, a complete sweep. I will say something nice about Trog now. It makes an appearance in perhaps the greatest movie of all time, Terminator 2, as Super Mario Bros. 3 does not. Now here's where things really get fun. I predicted this next matchup to be close. Let's see if I'm spot on, or eating crow as a result. Let's first check with the community and who their 5 votes will go towards. 20 people voted inside of the comments, with Final Fantasy 1 receiving 11 votes, and Super Mario Bros. Receiving 9, an extremely close margin, and giving Final Fantasy 1 a stranglehold on this matchup early. I'm going to review our 5-person council next. Final Fantasy 1 was split 3 votes to 2, and therefore wins the 2 council votes, and will bring our score to 7-0. Third, I'm going to break down the members' votes. The members were completely split, 3 voting for Final Fantasy 1, and 3 voting for Mario. Therefore, our score has changed, 10 votes for Final Fantasy 1, and 3 for Super Mario Bros. Our final 2 votes come from the founders who voted in favor of Final Fantasy 1, putting Final Fantasy 1 at 12 total votes to Super Mario Bros. 3 votes. Our next matchup is between the 4 and 13 seeds, Super Mario Bros. 2 and Chip and Dale's Adventure. And while this matchup did not have the closest overall result, it was 1 vote away from being absolutely chaotic. Let's break it down. There were 19 community votes on this matchup, 10 of which voted for Super Mario Bros. 2, and 9 went to Chip and Dale. Therefore, Super Mario Bros. 2 is awarded the full 5 community votes. I should note that if 1 voter had switched, we would have seen something quite spectacular. The founders are up next. They voted in favor of Mario 2-1, and their 2 votes will go towards Super Mario Bros. 2, bringing our score up to 7-0. Let's check in with the council next. There are 5 representatives, and they voted 4-1 in favor of Mario, And that brings the total vote to 9-0. Finally, we have our members. 4 members went for Mario, 2 went for Chip and Dale. This gives us a final score of 13-2 in the favor of Super Mario Bros. 2. The score's not close, but is very much not reflective of how close of a matchup this actually was. Our final matchup in the blue bracket is Mega Man 3 versus Blades of Steel. We're going to review the Founders and Council first this time. Both breakdowns were close. The Founders voted 2-1 towards the Ice Hockey Legend, giving it an early lead. The Council, however, went a different route, voting 3-2 in favor of Mega Man. This brings our score to 2-2. The community will break our tie. This was another close matchup within the community, 19 total voters, 11 for Mega Man, and 8 for Blades of Steel. This breaks the tie, and Mega Man takes a 7-2 lead. Finally, our members, 4 of 6 voted for Mega Man, and 2 voted for Blades of Steel. And that brings our final score to 11-4. Mega Man 3 advances. Let's shift our focus over to the red side of the bracket. This matchup focuses on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 and the Guardian Legend. First, let's check in with the Founders. They voted 2-1 in favor of the Guardian Legend, and this gives Guardian a 2-0 lead. Next, I want to check in with the community. This turned out to be one of the more lopsided results. 14 out of 20 community voters favored TMNT 2, and that gives it a 5-2 electoral advantage at this point. Like many matchups before it, the members were split 4-2, 4 going towards the Turtles and 2 for the Guardian Legend. This brings our score to 9-4 in favor of TMNT. Finally, the Council narrowly voted in favor of the Turtles 3-2, awarding it 2 more votes. This brings our final score to Turtles 11 and Guardian Legend 4. Our next matchup was by far my most favorite of the tournament thus far. In fact, this was down to the wire on Sunday evening just hours before our polls closed. I will review the community last because they are responsible for breaking our deadlock. First up, we will review the 6 members. They were split 3-3, so we start at a draw. The Founders were next, voting Sweet Home in an upset and sending this matchup to 5-3 in favor of Sweet Home. The Council comes next, voting for Metroid by a score of 3-2, and its 2 electoral votes go Metroid's way. So at this stage, we have a 5-5 tie, right down the middle. Let's review the community votes. This matchup had the fewest participation at only 17 voters. Drum roll. Metroid takes it by a count of 10-7, and this matchup was close the whole time. Most of us involved here agreed that Sweet Home is a super cool concept for a game, but it was not enough to overpower Metroid. Final score, Metroid 10, Sweet Home 5. As we approach the bottom of the bracket, we come across a matchup that surprised me a little bit. The community made their voice heard by more than doubling up. You all voted to go DuckTales 13 and Contra 6, and therefore giving it a mighty lead to start. Next up are the Founders, who narrowly gave the edge to DuckTales, further increasing its lead. Third up this time is the Council, and they also narrowly voted in favor of DuckTales, giving it 9 electoral votes overall, and giving us our first upset in Video Game Bonanza history. Finally, our members were split in their decision 3-3, and our matchup finished at DuckTales 12, Contra 3. Big congrats to Old Scrooge. Last but not least, we have The Legend of Zelda vs. Dr. Mario, our 2-15 matchup. Zelda was dominant in this matchup, but Dr. Mario did gain more traction than I anticipated. Our members voted for The Legend of Zelda by a score of 5-1, but that alone is impressive for the 15 seed, as it will gain an electoral vote. The community voted for Zelda by a score of 14-6, which was much closer than I expected, but nonetheless, it puts The Legend of Zelda over the top at 10 votes to 1. Our Founders were unanimous for only the second time in this round, and voted Zelda, and that gives it a 12-1 lead. And then finally, we have our Council, which voted Zelda 4-1. This secures the final 2 electoral votes for Zelda, giving it a 14-1 victory. Once again, we are very thankful for all the folks who participated in round 1, but we still have some business at hand, the quarterfinals. Let's pull up the bracket. We now have 2 matchups remaining inside of each color. On the blue side, we have the 1-8 matchup, Super Mario Bros. 3 versus Final Fantasy 1. On the bottom half of the blue bracket, we have Super Mario Bros. 2 facing off against Mega Man 3, which is our 4-5 matchup. On the right side of the bracket, we have the number 6 seed, TMNT 2, taking on the number 3 seed, Metroid. And our final matchup of the quarterfinals is Cinderella DuckTales versus The Legend of Zelda. Please make your voices heard by posting a comment below in the video. Like last week, polls will close at 7 p.m. on Sunday. This first round really proved just how important each and every vote is. Please note that if you missed the voting in round 1, you are more than welcome to vote in this quarterfinals round. We are attempting to grow as a channel, and it is to be expected that new voters will find us mid-tournament. Finally, we have included a graphic of all the round 1 votes. Take a minute to pause the screen if you are interested in seeing this breakdown. Thank you all once again. Feel free to drop a comment if anything comes to mind, and it has been a pleasure serving you all. VGB out.
Will your game make it to the next round? Find out next time on VGB.